Fantasy football, RSVP. So let's get right to it with the fantasy football waiver wire week 7. Those of you that don't really anticipate, I speak a lot of my show, unlike a lot of other shows. I mean, there's some good shows. I watch Pat McAfee show on ESPN. This show's out there, you get a lot of ideas from what to do, what not to do. But what I don't hear a lot about on a lot of these shows, not necessarily Pat, but they don't talk about what's going to happen in the coming weeks. Okay, you have to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens. That's how you get steals. Once it happens, it's too late. Okay, once it happens, once you find out someone puts up 30 points, the guy's as good as gone. You have to find out who's going to put up 30 points before they put up 30 points. What becomes the most important thing this late in the season is quarterbacks go down, or sometimes they have bad matchups, or bye weeks, or they get injured. And you want to have a really good, solid quarterback. I mentioned Gardner Minshew. I think it's going to take him a few weeks to really get rolling, but he's definitely a player to watch because they have an evolving offense. They have two great backs out of the backfield. They have really great route runners, Downs, Pittman, Pierce, and they're in a lot of games. Okay, and they're doing pretty well, and Minshew will get on a roll eventually. You may want to wait just a few weeks till he really starts to get cooking, gets used to being in there. Anthony Richardson's out for the year. I've been saying that for 3-4 weeks now. Now they're saying he might get surgery. I've been saying that from 3 weeks ago. Okay, when people are like, oh, we'll be back in week 5. I'm like, no, we won't be back in week 5. It's got an AC sprain, grade 3 sprain. That's a 12-week window. Okay, and they're not going to bring him back, especially Minshew will get on a roll. They're not going to bring him back till next year. The guy's got to learn to be more of a pocket passer. It's the mistake a lot of young quarterbacks make, other than C.J. Stroud, and quarterbacks like that. You got to throw the ball. Running the ball doesn't really work. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of yards, but it's design runs a lot of times. And he doesn't really run. He extends plays and doesn't get hit. He runs to the sidelines. He's very crafty about how he actually runs. And when they do design runs, that's something you can prepare for. So it doesn't really lead to injuries, like Lamar Jackson a lot of times. However, I really like the Commanders' offense. And I really like the offensive coordinator, former Chiefs offensive coordinator, and they're just marinating that offense. And they got backs out of the backfield, Gibson, and guys he could throw to, Logan Thomas, and I'm going to talk about Curtis Samuel because I think he's taken over as the number 1 receiver there. So I like Sam, how I really think the guy gets the ball out and puts the ball in the star's hands. And he's a great distributor. The guy moves around, gets points with his legs. I'm telling you, this guy's going to be putting up anywhere from 20 to 25 every week. And if you don't have a star quarterback that you can plug in a Sam Howell that's going to give you 20, 25, okay, that's called, like in tennis, holding serve. You want to hold serve. So if you are going against a quarterback that's putting up 25s, 30s, you put a guy in there putting 20, 25, you hold serve. Okay, and this guy is definitely the guy you want to have. Keep an eye on Minshew as well, see how hot he gets. You want to wait till he sort of gets going. Another running back that is available on almost every waiver wire imaginable, and he hasn't really been taken. I really feel there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup in Pittsburgh. And I really see Jalen Warren taking over the receiver, taking over the running back over Najee Harris. It's been talked about last year. It's being talked about this year. And, Pittsburgh, they're winning some games. Okay. However, with their defense. However, I think it's short-lived. I think they have a ways to go, and they have a great defense, but they have a ways to go. And when you start to lose and things aren't working, coaches need to make a change. And Warren has consistently put up more yards per carry, not necessarily this year, although he has on some weeks. But the guy's just more electric when you watch him. He's more dynamic, and he's certainly more dynamic out of the backfield. And Steelers have to realize, and a lot of things realize with this whole committee thing, is some running backs need more touches in order to get into a rhythm. Some people are saying Dalvin Cook is washed up. He's not washed up. Okay, he can be traded, get his 20, 25, carries, and you'll start seeing him. He's one of those backs that really gets going. And I sort of see the electricity of Warren when he runs. I watch Steelers games. I'm a Steelers fan, and I watch Najee Harris and I watch Jaylen Warren, and he's just got more pop. And that pop, you start giving him the ball a little bit more, which I think they will. I think in a few weeks he may be getting the bulk of the carries there, and he's definitely someone. I'm not saying necessarily play. However, he's definitely someone you want to stash for a few weeks, or you can get him now, because that change could happen pretty soon. And Harris has a tendency to get injured, and all of a sudden he's in being their power back. So I would pick him up right now before he starts to grow. Let's give you some more predictions, not necessarily of week 7. But we're getting towards the back half of fantasy football, and we have to start thinking about guys that are going to play big down the stretch. And I think the Chargers' offense is emerging. I mean, I saw some plays get called back against the Cowboys. Herbert to Allen's always there. Eckler was out, and he's back. And that offense, I saw some really good route running, and I saw. There were some plays they left on the field. There were some missed plays, and eventually they're going to start hitting those. And Palmer has been getting his 7, 8, 7, 6, targets, and I think that is going to continue. And he obviously is the second guy there. Allen gets double teamed quite a bit, and now with Eckler back, they don't frontline you so much, and there's going to be a lot more opportunity with Eckler back. They can't just press on the line the whole time, or just not press on the line, press on the receivers rather. And now they have to actually press up on the line, is what I'm trying to say, and that will open up more opportunities. And I see a lot of good things, even though they're not winning, that will develop with the Chargers. So I like Joshua Palmer. I also like Curtis Samuel, going back to evolving offenses, the Commanders. Not so much this week against the Giants. Giants playing very good defense right now. But Curtis Samuel is the number one. He's the number one red zone target, it looks like. And I believe he's going to continue to grow. And that offense is going to continue to grow. He's getting 6, 7 targets. It's going to go to 8, 9. And, McLaurin, he always gets injured, scary Terry. I think that Curtis Samuel is someone that you should keep an eye on, and you might want to pick up, because that offense is going. They're going to have a big second half. They have a tough matchup this week against the Giants, playing very well. As far as tight ends, the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers mentioned that he needs to get Luke Musgrave more involved. And he had 8 targets last week, and he's just a dynamic player. The guy could run, okay? And I think they're realizing they need to spread the ball quite a bit. They were stagnant against the Raiders. They weren't getting the ball out. The bye week came at a good time. Jordan Love, people are asking me a lot of questions about Jordan Love. He's just not ready. And the offense hasn't developed enough getting the receivers involved. They're trying to play smash mouth, football, which, it was a problem when Aaron Rodgers was there. He likes the West Coast offense, but they really need to develop. And one of the areas the offensive coordinator said is they need to get Luke Musgrave more involved. He's a dynamic player. I've been talking about him all year, and I think sooner or later he's going to have a breakout game. And you want to pick him up before that happens. I'm not necessarily play him as your number one, but he's a guy you might want to stash on your bench and wait and see. I've been talking about him and Samuel Laporta all year before the year even started. However, his big playability could even be bigger than Laporta's if they could learn how to use him a little bit more. He's got good hands too. As far as defense, the Giants played well 2 weeks in a row, and they actually played well against the Dolphins before that game became a blowout. They turned the ball over a couple of times. They had a pick six, and they started to come together. But what I really saw last week against the Bills at Buffalo, was the team. Daniel Jones is going to come back anytime soon with a neck injury. So he had a neck injury, and they want to see what they have in Tyrod Taylor. And frankly, I thought Tyrod looked better in every way, throwing the ball, juking, ducking, running the ball, running the offense, throwing the ball downfield. He looks like the better quarterback to me. I'm just, what my eyes see. I'm not an NFL coach, but I'm an NFL fan. I'm a podcaster, and it's what I see. The defense was playing a lot better because they were rested, and they played really, really well against the Bills. And I think that's going to continue this week against the Commanders, and the Giants pick up a win. And Commanders will get yards, but the Giants defense is coming together. As far as kickers, I like Brett Maher, again, back to the Chargers. The guy's putting up double digits every single week. And the Chargers is trying to figure out how to get in the end zone, and they're having problems doing that. But they're not having as many problems moving the ball. So that makes a great field goal kicker. I'm Dean Curry, Fantasy Football, so have a great day.